Hey, good morning, everybody. Let me turn this down from my side a bit. I'm having problems with my Open Broadcaster software today. Uh, it's just arguing with me quite a bit here, so I'm just trying to make sure it's actually recording. Alright, it's recording. The other problem I had was it wasn't letting me record the game in full screen, so I couldn't do a game capture, and so I just did a short breaking point. I say short breaking point video because every time I hop on, it says the server's shutting down in 10 minutes. So I just wanted to show some progress I had done on breaking point because I'm surviving in that game. I'm playing on one of their, what I think is the actual survival servers, not one of the PvP focused servers, and doing some hunting and making fires and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I wanted to show off what I'm doing, and it didn't record because it's arguing. So I'm keeping the broadcaster going and not running the game in full screen because I want to keep an eye on my open broadcaster. I don't know why it's misbehaving today. Alright, so at least I'll get some dead linger here. Oh yeah, I brought wood. Oh, that's right, I wanted to make the fire. I did. Okay, so I don't want to start the fire too close to all my stuff because I don't want my imaginary fire to not actually burn anything. It doesn't actually burn anything, but you don't want it to look silly either. Like, gee, why'd you put a big old fire here? Alright, so we're going to drag this over, this over. I forgot what side you're supposed to put stuff on. That's right. Anyway, I forgot, like, if you put the wood on this side, it picks up the item next to it, but if you put it on the left side. Anyway, here's my fire pit. Now I don't think you can actually pick this up and move it. I think once it's here, it's kind of set. So I'm just gonna, I got matches. I'm gonna middle click, and there it is. I got me a fire. Oh, what's my other item? So I built a fire mostly because I just wanted to see if it would attract zombies. Like, I'm way up here on top of this building. I really wanted to see what kind of range this fire puts out. So what I'm going to do is actually go downstairs, come off the shelter of my little home here. Was this the elevator shaft? Yeah. Don't want to go down there. And the skylights are missing their windows. And I barricaded off the bottom here. Oops. Which was pointless because it's all shifted. Oh my goodness. I could go on for days about how I'm so sick of the barricading. I've hit a point now where, like, the only redeeming thing for this game is, like, the barricading. Honestly. And it's broke. Like, that's what I really love. Yeah, we've had some discussion on some comments when I've done some of the Twitter reviews and some comments here while I'm playing the game. Okay, I'm going to turn the flashlight out just so I can run out here. Oh, I should have brought the pistol. I don't need a long-range rifle for... Oh, hey, look. I cannot see the fire. Make sure there's no zombie I'm running into because I got the flashlight off. With the flashlight off, I apologize for the darkness. I'm looking towards Leland right now, but honestly, I wanted to see how exposed the fire is when I have it on top of the Lelands, and I can't see it. Normally when you make a fire, even if it's inside a building, you can see the fire coming out through the walls and everything. But actually just putting it, like, I really can't. Oh, okay. If I zoom in with the rifle, I can see the smoke, but, like, I don't really see the light emanating from it. Let me see if I come up here onto a hill. So yeah, no, I do apologize for the darkness, but we're experimenting. Yeah, even coming up onto this hill. Let's flashlight here for a second. Let's see if I can get up on top one of these big rocks. or not. Nope. Okay. Big rock is a no-no. But as I look back towards the Leland, you know, without zooming in, you cannot tell really there's a fire unless you're really, really looking for it. But when I zoom in, like, I don't see a whole lot of light being given off. You know, it's pretty much I just see the smoke it generates. This is actually not, that's not too bad. That's what I was hoping for. That's kind of what I was hoping it would do, you know. And now the way the zombies work, I'm not quite sure if they will hone in on that the way maybe a player would. Like a player, unless you were really coming through the world looking for a Lelands or something like that, you might not know someone put a fire. Now, actually, what you could do, just because the Lelands is so big, you could probably get away with putting a fire down. Ugh. Let me just crawl into my barricading. That shifted up. Oh, boy, that's good. We'll talk more about that in a second. But you could probably, like, here, I'll show you the part of this building that I'm really looking at making into the living quarter. Let's see, this is shifted up too. Can I jump it? No, I'm stuck on it. Crap, I got stuck in my own. There we go. But right up here, I could probably make a fire inside. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but shoot, when you're talking about hiding the flames, not letting the zombies see the flames from outside your home, you could probably, maybe not down here. It's got a lot of exposed area. Oh, my ever replicating ammo pile has come back. You could probably put a fire here, kind of in this area, and you might not see it come out at all. You would be pretty well protected inside. So now what I want to do is just see if it brings them. So the zombies, I don't know if they work on like actually sight of the flame or the brightness of the light, or if it just works on the fact that you've put a fire on the world map that zombies within a certain radius are going to go ahead and be attracted to it, regardless if they see it or not. Because like usually if I'm out in the woods and I start a fire inside the cabin, just within a very short time I've got zombies that are tracking the cabin and coming to it. And then as soon as you come out to see, oh hey, what's all the commotion, they then start tracking to you. But nothing. It seems pretty quiet. Let me just come on over here. It's all about being vigilant. Yeah, I've pretty much have taken out the zombie population in the immediate area, and the zombies do a pretty good job of not coming back, and that's exactly what I wanted. You know, like I said, this is all this gameplay in the alpha is helping me come up with some ideas for how I might want to play in the future. And definitely living on top of the Lelands seems like a pretty good idea. When they talk about barricading, some of that free-form barricading system they have actually will allow you to build structures. Now see, I don't have any infection here. We'll talk about infection in a moment because that has some interesting thoughts. But yeah, this is why I thought a Lelands would be great, because it's huge. Like, you could really make a community out of a place like this, because you could make this, say, like your first focal point into an area, clear the Lelands, and then you can kind of barricade the lower portion. This is now your primary fort, if you will. Um, it doesn't have like a lot of rooms necessary for people to have their own rooms. Ah, here comes a zombie. See, and I honestly don't know if that's because he's triggered on me running around or the fire finally brought him. Let me reload here real quick. But even so, if you had your community based around this place, if you had one or two folks guard duty where they just kind of walk the perimeter, then you could have cooking, you could have, your supplies gathered up, storm inside. I mean, I just think it's amazing. And then you could have folks who want to go out and raid. I say raid, but go gathering and scavenging supplies. So they could head out into the houses and look for stuff, and then bring it back to this focal point. And then even if you had folks, like if they ever implemented like a sleeping bag system, I don't know how I feel about that as a spawn point, or just the sleeping bag as a way to rest and recover from infection or something. But let's say you had sleeping bags, then you could still fit several sleeping bags side by side inside a room, and you could still have a sense of community. You're all kind of sharing the rooms. It's not like it's a hotel or anything. Yeah, well, even if that zombie was triggered by the fire, I've still made this place pretty safe. When I hit some of those housing areas, though, I still run into groups of zombies. Nothing really scary. I think I got my 22 pistol in the mix, got my 22 rounds. We make out pretty good. And I got duplicating ammo, although my 22 ammo hasn't duplicated much. But as you can see, though, if I need to, I can pick up the 44, go with that, or my 357. So, we're not hurting on ammo in case we do get a lot of zombies. Alright, so we'll keep this short because, like I said, I just wanted to kind of see how the fire would work off of the Lelands. Okay, so some things to talk about here before we jet off for the day. I did not get to go to the role-playing event. On Reddit, there was a gentleman who actually put together a role-playing event, and I didn't get to go, so I didn't do any footage or any recording for that. So I'm going to go back to the Reddit and see what comments were left behind, if there was some footage from that. So if you go to deadlinger.com, click on their Reddit link at the very top, and you'll see it was one of the top events mentioned, was this role-play server that this gentleman put out there. He actually, well, at first it was going to be by invitation only, and he wanted you to post some information about your character, and then he opened it up for anybody to show up. And so I commend that. That's what you need as a community here, because the game is in such an early state. And I'm going to clarify that, because the game is in such an early state of development, there's not much to do game-wise. Like this, I'm a winner. I have food, I have shelter, I've got fire, weapons. I'm living here forever. I have successfully won the game, if you will. And anybody who's watched this, I've done barricading. The only thing I have not done is stolen a bicycle and made ramps, which I really need to do. I need to get a bicycle as my and then put those down here so I can. Yeah, I need to go find a bicycle. But like I've pretty much have done it all. Now, in terms of what we need to see here, barricading needs to be fixed. So I was talking on the comments with Lunas Games, and he was also mentioning his displeasure with the barricading, because I guess it used to work under the engine, the Ogre engine, and then when they switched to Unity, it just isn't working quite right. And they're aware of it, but it's something they said it's going to be kind of like a low priority to fix. I'm not, don't quote me on that. That's just something I read somewhere that was like, yeah, that we'll get to that when we can. But like their next build coming out was focusing on graphics, and so I'm not quite sure if barricading is really going to be looked at. Item duplication, though, is supposed to be worked on for this next one. They said they're redoing some ways that they introduce items into the world. So it's quite possible that the duplicating items might be fixed, which would help with the immersion a little bit. But barricading has to be fixed. Now, I bring up barricading again because I finally finished watching the 12-hour live stream from Sony when they were doing H1Z1. And I might have mentioned this before in the Ground Zero podcast, but every time I come back to the game, I'm just reminded of how important barricading is. So with H1Z1, the way they do the barricading, and they demonstrated it, they implemented it during the live stream. Like, they already had a lot of the assets in place, so it's not like they had to build something completely from scratch. But what they did was they put sockets. Oh yeah, no, I did talk about this. I did. I think I talked about this on the podcast. But what they did though was they put sockets in like this doorway, for example. Oh yeah, I know I've talked about this already. I won't beat that to death, but basically they put like sockets in doorways. You come up with enough wood, you get to the socketed area, you tell the craft system to build like the barricade, and then when you go to place it in the world, it snaps right to where the socket is. And this just reminded me of the comment that Lunas made, was with the freeform system we have now, it's like you're, what do you say, like a paraplegic monkey or something, because your character just spazzes out with the wood trying to place it. It's just so frustrating. And then after you place it, everything shifts up. It just has this weird thing to float up, or the pieces drop, or but that's the thing. There are just these core mechanics that are just horribly busted within the game, that the only way that people, I think, are going to get a chance to enjoy it for what it is if you get together on like those roleplay servers. Now, I know I've had plenty of people tell me, hey Eddie, if you just want to do some multiplayer stuff, just shoot me a message, I'll turn on the multiplayer server, and good to go. I think that's great, but I think why that's an issue is because I don't know when that person's available to turn it on, and nobody should be at the beck and call of another person to turn their server on. I think that's probably a very selfless, that's just awesome that folks are willing to do that if they're available. But I think we need to do more things like get onto Reddit and advertise, hey, I'm going to open up my server at this time for a get-together. I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it. Advertise your server. That way, even though the game has issues, if you get together to play with folks and role play on a community, then it really doesn't matter if barricading is broken or anything like that. You're all going to be working together to find resources, gather wood to make fire, and if you're role playing it, you might have character stories. So you might say, hey, let's do the prison, let's do Walking Dead, let's do Eddie's Lelands store. But then you can have some folks that say, I'm just going to hang out here while you guys go scavenge. And that's totally cool. Everybody has a chance to, participate in some way. Maybe you just want to get together, crouch down around the fire, and just kind of chit-chat, get to visit with folks, There's a lot of potential for community in the game that I think the best way to organize that would probably just be on Reddit. Get together and say, hey, let's meet in game on such and such day at such and such time, and then those folks can come and just hang out. Now, sure, you might get somebody who wants to show up and just start shooting the people who have gathered, but if you have enough people gathered that got their pistols and stuff, hopefully they can take care of that one person, and just make that person's life miserable. There's always someone who wants to show up to the party, and their idea of a party is, I'm going to betray everybody. Well, just be prepared for that, and you should be fine. And I don't see any more zombies. I've just kind of been wandering around here. So that one zombie that followed me, that could have just been a fluke, because I went out exploring a little bit to see if I could see the flame. So not bad. Living on top of the Lelands is a great experience, and I don't think I've seen it rain in a long, long time. So I don't have to worry about necessarily the fire going out. The fire wouldn't go out anyway, trust me. It doesn't have that kind of interaction with the world yet, but you don't get cold. So that would be my recommendation, folks, is if you want to have get-togethers, get to Reddit, organize a community event, and then that's how we're going to grow the game. And then hopefully, as we bring more interest, bring some more players, bring some more money to the game, they can actually bring some more patches and fixes to the game a little bit quicker than what the pace they're doing now. That was one of the big things that Lunas and I have been commenting back and forth is like the con they just had. We both agreed that, hey, if this is, they were showing people at the con build 14 work in progress, then they come home all excited, get onto Steam, pay their $20, download it, and then they get the old trees, the old grass, none of the textures that were shown. It's going to be disappointing. So the only way we can really kind of counteract that is show that there's some kind of community here. So I encourage folks, hop onto the Reddit and start making some events, and I'll definitely see which ones I can come to, and if I can, record it out and share it with folks. I can't make all of them. I'm kind of an anti-social type person, but we'll see what the community can do just to kind of keep the game interest going and support it out while they take their long time with their updates. Anyway, that's it for today. Not much in terms of gameplay. Like I said, it's Saturday. I'm just relaxing. I just wanted to make a fire and see how it works. Yeah, confirmed. Fire on top of Lelands rocks. Alright, y'all. We'll see you later. If it decides to stop recording my oh, great. Come on, OBS. Yeah. Is definitely not wanting to cooperate today. I got hotkeys set, but the hotkeys